Hello, Brick Sculptors, and welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris, and I am so excited to be able to film another Obelisk video for you. If you've been following these videos, I've been progressively making this obelisk over time. I apologize, it's moving slower than you may have thought. I really am trying to give you a detailed step-by-step here, and I'm waiting for parts and everything, and I also have so many videos going on. It is going to be kind of a slow process. But I do want to show you guys kind of in real time how my thinking is working and how this is evolving over time. So let's go ahead and get started and let's talk about this obelisk. Last video we left off with it just like this on the side. I called the video Legalize It, and I changed these portions to round sections on the front and back to give it that wiggle to it so it doesn't have any stress on the parts here. Now, part of the battle with this obelisk is there's just a lot of different illegal techniques in it. They're subtle and they're minimal, but they are there. So every step is a little bit less. I'm going to show you how far we got today. It's slowly getting more and more legal and more complete. So let me go ahead and show you the next few stages. So this is where I left off in the last video, and I quickly had the idea to upgrade this. So the next step looked like this, and this is real simple. All I really did was switch the back and the front around. So all the parts from the second layer here came to the front, and the other ones went to the back. And the reason I did that is eventually it's going to get locked in with tiles like this. And I want to be able to hold these pieces together with a tile, as opposed to here, there's nothing to hold them in. So this worked pretty good. Basically just moving it so I can have a little more structural strength. But then it evolved again. I was looking at this and I go, okay, there's still some issues here. This is technically going to be illegal because eventually I'm going to be running a column of 1x1 brick here. So this is technically sticking out, and that's going to cause for an illegal connection. And on top of that, when switching this to here, I realized this bottom row of plate on one side should get switched to a row of brick. And I'll show you that in my next variation. So here's my third variation here, and I made a few changes. So number one, instead of having squared off plate here, I've got everything round. And I also learned I can still make this too wide if it just connects in the one spot. And a cool technique for doing this and making it not bind up and not be illegal is use round pieces, either circles or these 1x2s or 1x1s. And then this doesn't create any friction in here. It still has the movement. Now let's talk about the other side here. I replaced that bottom row of plate with brick. And the reason being is this is eventually going to have brackets on it. That's going to hold it to the adjacent side. Now in the previous version, I was making pieces like this. This is a bracket with two plates stacked on top. This would go underneath and connect to the next side. Well, I realized, why do all these plates? If I can remove a plate, add a row of bricks, it's going to make it really structurally sound, and then attach my brackets. So that's what I did here. And so basically on every side, I'm going to have one side of brick, one side of plate. This is going to end up being the male side, and this is going to end up being the female side, which I'll show you in my next step. But before I get to that, I want to talk about the plugs here. So I had to plug these gaps, and eventually it'll get covered in plate. And basically the pattern for the plate is just going to work its way from the top down, just like this. Let me go ahead and fill this in real quick. Now while I fill this in, if you guys are interested in obelisks and building obelisks and other cool tips, tricks, and techniques, the Discord server we set up for the channel has been incredibly popular. And I'll tell you, there's some people in there doing just remarkable things. We've got some real pros on there that are showing some fantastic techniques. Here's an example of something posted by Luca Herman. And oh my God, this took my design to the next level. And it's just absolutely insane, far beyond where I would have ever taken it. So big hats off to you, Luca. This is such a cool design. But lots of stuff like this and more on the Discord server. You can check it out for the link in the description. And let's go ahead and get back to this obelisk side. So here I put tile on one side here, I use the larger 2x6 tiles to overlap these sections to lock everything in nicely. But we have our tile here. Now this is ready to put brackets on and 1x1 brick. So the technique I use for this, I have columns of 5 high 1x1s. I put 2 1x1 plates in there. I just varied the colors so you could see them. And then these are the snot pieces, but with studs on 2 sides. And that is the perfect connection point. Eventually I'm going to have to get these in white. They're, believe it or not, kind of difficult to get. They're out there, but there's not a lot of sellers that have a ton of them. But doing that spacing will allow me to do this all the way up. And then right on top of it, we can put our brackets. The bracket's going to lock in that plate. It's going to line up its studs directly with this, and that'll make for our male side. This side will be the female side, which will connect to it. Now, I put off making this video for a long time because of this piece here. This bracket is essential for making the plugs that go in here, and I've been waiting to get them in the mail. I ordered them from one spot. They only had 3 of them, and I was ordering from them anyway, so I just got those 3. I got more in the mail. They should be here any day now, but I couldn't wait any longer, so I apologize. My plugs are going to have gray ones. They will be swapped out when I get the white ones. But again, it's a work in progress, so bear with me, please. So these are the plug designs that I've come up with. And these use a lot of techniques in here, but they just kind of stair-step in, a lot like I did with my first obelisk, where here is, I believe, a quarter plate difference between these, and this one might be a half plate, but I just use a variety of snot pieces and brackets and jumpers and all kinds of stuff to make these plugs. This is the biggest one. It's going to go on the bottom, and this isn't going to fit perfectly as you see it here because I have to have tile on here to connect it to. So eventually it will look something kind of like this. This is my next plug, same thing. I've got brackets, I've got snot bricks, all kinds of different techniques going on here to get the desired sizes where they're needed and try to make those stair steps as little as possible. These gaps here are going to be filled in with just straight tile, and here we're getting a little thinner. Again, brackets, snot bricks, lots of techniques there just to get those really small stair steps and get it to fit really nice right in that gap. And then, of course, the thinnest is by far the hardest. This piece in particular right here, try to figure out how I got those brackets like that. That was a challenge. I'll show it to you. But this was probably the hardest part of the whole thing. And I have lots of different brackets in here. This one's actually upside down, but I use it to fill the gap. Otherwise, you'd have a big gap there and still keep all the pieces where they're supposed to be. Turned out pretty cool. So this one I definitely worked on probably for longer than the rest of these combined. But once I got it down, pretty satisfied with how it turned out. And this will just clip in right on top. Now once these plugs are in, there's going to be a lot of filling in to do on the back side. And I'll show you here on my next phase. This is a completed side. And you can see it's not beautiful on the inside. It's got a lot of different techniques here. Lots of jumpers, lots of plates, all kind of things to connect it to keep that side as flat and consistent as possible. But I think it turned out pretty nice. The gaps are super minimal. Again, I apologize for those gray brackets. I wish they were white. But then also this side here, you can see I've got the 1x5s going with the 1x1 plates and those snot pieces and then all these brackets. And that is what's going to allow us to pop these together. I'm going to go ahead and put tile on this side here so you can see how that would work. So now that I've got tile switched to the other side here, we can actually marry these two sides together just like this. And they fit together really nice. And I think using this technique, I shouldn't have any trouble connecting these two once all the sides are fully built. It won't be super easy still, but I was really worried how I'm going to get the plugs all in when they're connected. And doing it this way, I don't think I'll need to. I think I'll be able to get the whole sides built and then just connect the sides. So there we have a nice corner going all the way up, perfectly straight, and these line up beautifully, and they're connected in so many places. And some of you might be thinking that this looks weak. This thing is incredibly strong, at least the portion that's finished here, and it will only get stronger as I make more and more sides and add them to it. So I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions, please leave them below in the comments. If you want to check out our Discord server, that's linked in the description. And if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. I'm going to do more just like this in the future. And we will see you next time.